Hi guys, so I'm going to be doing a book review video on 4 books just because there's other things going on, and I decided that so I'm going to start out with the 2 books that go together. And the 2 books, I read the second one first because I didn't know they went into specific order. I knew they were by the same author, but I didn't know that they went together. So I'm going to start out with the first book first, and the other reason why is because I was lazy. I started reading the second one and I didn't feel like doing whatever. I didn't feel like getting the other book out and reading that and stuff like that. So all the characters are mostly the same in both of the books. And the chapters, there's 110 chapters in this book. It's the 44 Scotland Street book by Alexander McCall Smith. This is what it looks like. And like I said, it has 110 chapters in it, but it's a really good book. I didn't really think I was going to like these books just by the way like it started out really slow and stuff. And the chapters are really short in these books, so, and also because like the words on the page are kind of small, they're not really very big in this book. And it's about what happens is what I like about this book is instead of having like one chapter where there's like a break in each set where you change to a different character, in this book it's basically like you might read like 5 chapters about one character and then it stops and then it goes on to a different character's issues, that kind of thing. But the main storyline in this book is about this woman. She's an American. She goes to Scotland for her gap year, her second gap year. And she ends up working at this gallery for this man. And she's kind of like a receptionist kind of woman. Like, she'll just like she doesn't really know that much about art. So she's just like the receptionist, stuff like that. And this painting is in the gallery where they think it's a real by this like famous artist, but they don't know for sure if it's real or not. So until they figure out if it's real or not, they kept it somewhere else, and then somebody tried to steal it from the gallery. So the guy who owns the gallery to decides to put it with her because he's in the phone book and she's not because she just lives in this flat. And here the owner of the flat where she's staying at finds it and gives it away to some kind of I don't know, I know the word for it, but I forget how to, I don't like know how to say it, but it was like this raffle kind of thing. And then it ends up going from hand to hand, that type of thing, until they eventually are going to find it. And there's this other story in the book about this mother who, well, these parents are trying to have like their son be like a prodigy, and he's only 5 and he knows like the highest rank or grade of saxophone playing. He knows like all this other stuff. They read to him like literature books, all this stuff, and that he knows Italian. And here he becomes defiant, and because he doesn't want to do all these things, he wants to be like a real kid. And so his mother takes him to therapy. And there's this older woman in the book who is kind of like, I would say, like the main character that like holds all these people together because they all know this woman who lives in the same flat as Pat does. That's the character who's the American character, the character from America, and stuff like that. And it's a really good book. I really enjoyed it. Now, the second one is called Love Over Scotland, and it has the same characters in it. And this is called, well, as I said, Love Over Scotland is by Alexander McCall Smith, same author. This is what it looks like. And this one had 113 pages in it. I mean, yeah, 113 chapters in it. And it's the same format. Like, the words are long on the page, the chapters are really short, blah, 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 that type of stuff. And it's basically just about the same characters and the older lady who holds the glue to all of these people. She goes off on this trip to find these pirates or something because she's a anthropologist. And so they're all trying to deal with her being away. The one guy loses his dog, and the son, and well, the parents who had the prodigy son, they're just trying to get back on track. And the woman, she's in college, and she finds this man that she really likes, but here he has a girlfriend, and the girlfriend's kind of crazy, and she ends up living with the owner of the gallery and stuff like that, and all the chaotic stuff that comes along with that. But that one was a really good book. Like, I really liked that series. And this is the third book in the Prayer Jar series. Now, this series, if you don't like biblical things or biblical script or scripture, that kind of stuff, these books aren't for you. Now, I read these books when they came out, and I remember the last time. I don't even remember the second time. I don't remember the I don't remember the um the last time I read the second book, if that makes any sense. Now, this book, you might see it has some kind of like, it looks like tooth marks from my dog on it, so just ignore that. And like I said, this series is called The Prayer Jars. It's an Amish book, so that's why there's a lot of like biblical scripture and stuff in it. This is called The Healing Jar. This is the last book in the set, and this is by Wanda Brunstetter, and I love her books. Like, her books are the best compared to any other Amish author that I read that writes about the Amish that I read. This is what it looks like. And it's basically just everything coming together. And it's about this woman who tricked the real granddaughter's grandparents into thinking that she was her. And so what happens is she ends up actually finding love and everything like that. And it's basically like 3 stories in one, like, well, 4, because grandma, the real granddaughter's grandmother is in a problem of herself. She her husband is like had a stroke or a heart attack or something, and she has to deal with helping him out. And their other granddaughter, who's the cousin to the other granddaughter, if that makes any sense. I'm sorry, this is confusing. She lives with them to help out and stuff like that. And she's just like, she's like, everybody I know is like getting married or whatever, and I'm still stuck in this place. But then she's like, I don't know how it would work out if I married, because would I be able to stay, like, would I have to stay with their grandparents or have a house by themselves, that type of thing. So here she tries to find love with this one man who was from a different state, from Kentucky, and his wife died in childbirth, and he's raising this daughter alone, and he only wants to marry her so his daughter has a mother, and that complicates things a little bit. The other grandchild, she ends up, I can't remember, because the one that tries to pretend to be the granddaughter and the granddaughter, I think it's the one that pretended to be the granddaughter. She's Amish. She turned Amish and stuff. And I'm trying to think. I don't know. It's one of the other ones became Amish and the one didn't. And the one that did, her husband finds a job working with bees, like making bee stuff, like the boxes and stuff like that. And they end up living somewhere else, and here she gets pregnant and stuff like that. And then the other one is busy with just like trying to find out who her biological dad is, because her mother never said, and stuff like that. Her mother died and left her like this letter in her Bible about her grandparents, and she's still trying to piece everything together as to what happened, why she did what she did, why she left, and she didn't tell anybody in her family she was leaving, that type of thing. But it was a really good book. Now, the chapters were long in this book sometimes, and I feel like some of them, like, sometimes it just felt like it was the same story, like, going on and on. Like, you would read about something, and then, like, it would, I don't know, it would just be like the same. It would be like the same thing over and over again in some of the chapters. It had 47 chapters in it, plus an epilogue, but it was still a good book. Like, it was a nice wrap up to the whole series, kind of thing. And she does have another series out, and I have the first one, but I don't know when I'm going to read that. But this one was the book that took me a while to get through. Now, this has 4 books in one. This is called The English Garden, and it's basically kind of like an historical fiction book where the first one started out in like the 1600s. The next one started out in the Victorian era. The next one was about, I think it was about World War II, I think. I'm not sure. I know it's about one of the world wars. And the last one was like present day, because this book was written like, I don't even remember, like in the 90s or something. And each book was it details it takes place like around the garden, like gardens. It took place no this place this book was copyrighted in 2001. So this is what it looks like. And it's the stories in it are kind of cute. Some of them the chapters are short kind of, and some of them it's like I think some of them or all of them are less than 10 chapters. And it was a nice little book. Like, I really liked it. Like I said, like the one was about this woman fell for the orchard farmer man. They called him an orchardist or something like that. And he was the one who was gonna get the apples to make cider into, because the family made cider. And he was trying to tell her, like, we can't be together because I'm just a farmhand and you're the wealthy woman. And the war one was just like, it was just like, do we really want to be together knowing, the war's on, stuff like that. But the last, I liked all of them, but I think the first two that were in the middle were the best. The first one was kind of weird. I would say kind like they would go from like old English to like regular speaking English. If that makes any sense. I don't know. But those are the 4 books that I read for this book review. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys next time with another video.